Jesus plus nothing. 100% natural, no additives. Andrew Farley is celebrating your freedom in Christ. Call in and ask your questions at 877-655-6755. That's toll free at 877-655-6755. Via satellite from Texas, it's The Grace Message with Dr. Andrew Farley.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Grace Message. This is Andrew Farley. So glad you're joining us tonight. That number, 877-655-6755. We've got wide open lines tonight. That means plenty of room for you to get in with your question. Maybe you've got a question about a scripture passage. Maybe you heard something in church this past weekend and you're still scratching your head wondering about it. Let's make it a conversation together right now. 877-655-6755. And if you're a first-time caller tonight, you got to know we love it. We love to hear from our first-time callers. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're a veteran listener, maybe you've called before, you got something now that's new tonight, that maybe it's a personal issue going on in your life, in your marriage, with your kids, in your church, you're looking for that grace message perspective. Well, that's exactly why we're toll-free across the United States and Canada right now. 877-655-6755. 4 open lines right now, lots of room. It's the perfect time to call in. And let me say this, that if you're joining us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live right now, wow, we would love to hear from you as well. We love to hear from our streamers, those who are following along online. Give us a call right now. 4 open lines, 877-655-6755. By the way, we're at this year-end period right now, and it's so critical for our ministry. It is such an important time. I've been talking this month about this matching grant opportunity that we have. We've just got a few days left in the month of December, and you can help us meet our match and get to this goal. We have a $190,000 matching grant. We want to take full advantage of it, and you can help us get there so that we go into the new year strong and stable and able to reach even more people. If you've been thinking about giving a gift this month, a year-end gift, a tax-deductible gift, I got to tell you, there's no better time than right now to give and be a part of this. So go to our website at andrewfarley.org. Again, that's andrewfarley.org. And, here's the situation, that it not only is your gift doubled this month, and not only does it help us go into the new year and say yes, yes, and yes to all kinds of amazing invitations we're sitting on right now. In addition, we're going to send a thank you gift to you. It's our the best of 2021. It's 5 messages, the most requested messages that we've had of the year. We've compiled them into an audio series that'll be available to you as a thank you gift for all of our donors this month. And you can, of course, choose a CD series, or you can get a digital download and get it right away. So go to our website right now at andrewfarley.org. You can click on the Donate tab there. It takes 2 minutes to give your gift. And let me just say that we are so grateful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support and your prayers and your encouragement this year. It's been an incredible year. And as amazing as it's been, I got to say, the year that's coming up, we've never had a year like this one. I mean, this one that is coming up with these invitations and opportunities and our new studio and everything that we've got going, it is so exciting, and I can't wait to see what God does. So if you want to be a part of this, we invite you to partner with us. Go to our website at andrewfarley.org. All right, let's go now to Atlanta, and we'll talk with Shannon. Hey, Shannon, what have you got for us?
Hey, Dr. Farley. So in Acts chapter 1, when the apostles were going to replace Judas,
right,
down in verse 23, they nominated 2 men, and then the next verse says, then they prayed to the Lord to show which of the 2 men, and then in the last verse, of course, they cast lots. So I mean, why nominate two if God was going to pick one anyway? And what criteria would they have known to use to choose the two?
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I mean, obviously, in the book of Acts, my goodness, let's look at everything, Shannon. We've got people falling over dead. We've got tongues of fire falling on people's heads at Pentecost. We've got all kinds of healing and miracles and amazing things. I mean, God is on the move to launch the early church. And I would say we got to keep that in mind because Acts is filled with the actions of the apostles, but it's also filled with God behind the scenes, and sometimes not so behind the scenes. He's right out in the spotlight doing amazing things to prove that Jesus is Messiah. So, a lot of people will ask, well, why did so much happen in the early church, and why isn't the same level or the same amount of activity, in terms of miracles and healings and spectacular works on display? How come that doesn't happen with the same frequency or whatever? People get concerned about that. And, my take on that is you're launching the church. I mean, are you kidding me? These are Jews. This is an environment of Judaism, and they've got millions of dollars, so to speak, pumped into that local temple. They've got temple sacrifices. They've got animals on altars. They've got priestly garb and outfits and ceremonies and washings, and they've got thousands of years of tradition. And then you're going to tell me that Yahweh is found in this person you call Jesus, and he's the Christ, he's the Messiah, this carpenter's son from Bethlehem? Are you kidding me? From Nazareth? What? This is his lineage, his heritage. These are his parents. Wait, what? And so that's the bottom line, is that God is on the move, and he is displaying Jesus as the Messiah. And so we see a lot of miraculous things, and I don't think this is any exception. In Acts chapter 1, they're asking the Lord for wisdom. It doesn't say this, but then they cast lots next. So what does that tell you? Well, apparently God led them to cast lots. And so their thought there, in the midst of this, having asked God for wisdom and God intervening, I'm sure in a powerful way, giving them this revelation, cast the lots, and I'll be in the midst of it. And the lot fell to Matthias, and so he was added to the 11 apostles. I would just take that as God's intervention and his way of intervening. Now, the mistake we could make today is we go, all right, God, should I buy the Volkswagen Beetle or should I buy the Lamborghini Diablo or whatever? And so then we say, God, I'm going to roll this dice, and whatever it lands on, that'll be my decision based on the number it lands on. Well, you've made that up. I mean, that's not God's initiating. And so I think we have to assume in the book of Acts what we're seeing here is God's intervention, God's idea, God communicating with the disciples at a critical moment when that information was desperately needed. I mean, we're talking about the same God who led Israel out of Egypt, and they followed a cloud, and they passed through a wall of water, and they ate manna falling from the sky, and the same God that brought plagues upon Egypt. I mean, now they're proving Jesus is Messiah, and this is a miraculous thing that you're reading in Acts 1. Don't try this at home, so to speak. People have ruined their lives saying, God, I'm going to Vegas now. I'm going to roll this dice, and I want you to bless the rolling of this dice. Next thing you know, they're bankrupt, and they're wondering, God, why didn't you show up for me? So this is something that God initiated, and the disciples were responding to it. Their first act was to pray, and then the second thing that occurs is God's intervention and God's solution. So those are my thoughts, Shannon. I hope that clarifies for you some, and reach out to us again there in Atlanta anytime. We sure do love hearing from you. All right, let's go now to Atlanta, and we'll talk with Corey this time. Hey, Corey.
Yes, hi, good evening. How are you?
Hey, good. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I have a question about the church, and the church is very big, obviously, different denominations and people, and widowhood and the fatherless. James 1:27. I am a widow. I was widowed at a pretty young age, comparatively. When you see widows, they're usually in their 80s. I was widowed at 46. I was married to a sportscaster, Nick Charles, who worked for CNN, and we had a beautiful young daughter. But we both witnessed his going through cancer, and it was horrific, and him passing away really before our very eyes. And a lot of people, were there initially, right? But I've pretty much stayed just with my daughter. I haven't dated. Not that I wouldn't do that sort of thing, but my last 10 years has been focused on raising my daughter. And churches are really nice. They'll throw a widow's dinner. I'm usually the youngest widow there. They'll give you a couple of cards and check up on you once in a while. But I don't really see a ministry for American women who have gone through widowhood, and maybe even men who are widowers. And I don't really see, and I've really looked, and I've opened my heart to seeing this.
Yeah.
Real ministries for that practice James 1:27, and I'm just wondering why that is. I mean, we're all focused on praying prosperity, getting out of debt, this, that, and the other thing, but I don't see what was the early church like, and what should it be?
Yeah, I hear you, Corey. Well, my mom is a widow, and I understand what you mean. My heart goes out to you, my friend. We've had widows and widowers in our church that we've walked alongside, and I know it's not easy. It's not easy ever. As I said, I watched my mom. My dad passed away in 1998, so that's been it's been about 23 years, more than 2 decades that I've watched her. And what people don't realize is that you had friendships based on the marriage. You had friendships based on being a couple. And then when one person from that couple passes away, the other person is now single, so to speak, and maybe they don't get invited everywhere that they used to. They don't get included everywhere that they used to. And it's, at first it's baffling, I'm sure. It's like, wait a minute, I thought we were all friends. Oh, well, apparently we're only friends because of the couple situation we had. And so it's almost like a reset, hitting a reset button and starting over. And yeah, I wish I had an answer for every church everywhere as far as why there's no particular ministry to widows. What you're saying is you've seen a lot of programs. A lot of churches are big. You got a mega church with 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 people, and they're pouring money into all kinds of programs. And your question is, well, hey, where's your widows program? Where's your program for those whose husbands or wives have passed away and they're looking for companionship and friendship and support and prayer? And I can't answer why those programs aren't there, but you're absolutely certain that you're right. I mean, you look at James, it talks about widows and orphans, and that being a key part of ministering to others when they're hurting. At the same time, I would say let's go back to the early church and let's look at their situation. I'm reading now from 1 Timothy 5. It says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. And then it says, no widow should be put on the list unless she is over 60 and has been faithful to her husband and is well known for her good deeds. So they had a commune. I mean, that's what the early church was. People don't realize that, but they were basically regional communes. And in some cases, they would lay all their belongings down at the apostles' feet. They would share those belongings. They had a commune. And when someone's husband passed away, they would try to take care of the widows, but they would also encourage the widows, if they can, to continue, get into the workplace, earn their own keep, get remarried if they're able. That's why, and then have family provide for them, because they didn't have mega church. They didn't have that kind of budget with the millions or billions of dollars or whatever. So they were a commune, a small ragtag group of believers who were largely rejected by the society around them. And so Paul writes this young pastor Timothy, and I'm sure everybody wanted to be on the list, to be taken care of economically, to be taken care of by the community. And so Paul just puts some guidelines in 1 Timothy 5 so that nobody were to take advantage of it. Now, on the other side of that, we've got some communities that do zero, zilch, nothing for widows or for orphans. Um, here in our church, we're not a large congregation in Texas, but we have our campus in West Texas that we've been, I guess it's been around 60 years or so. And we have a beautiful community here. We just had an outreach for foster children 2 weeks ago. As I said, we've got a knowledge of our members, enough knowledge and intimate friendship with them that when someone passes away, we're able to give them attention. But you go to a mega church and they've got a large program for this and a large program for that, and why don't they include one for widowers and widows? I can't really answer that. I just would say yes, absolutely. It's God's heart to come alongside those who are hurting and to help as they have a need. And it's also time for family to rally. 1 Timothy 5 says it's important for family to rally around widowers and widows. So I hear you, Corey. I mean, I've been beating a similar drum because of what happened to my mom and to others. In fact, I was talking to my barber the other day. I guess it's been months now, but he had his wife pass away. And so he told me the same thing about his church. He goes to a very different church from ours. And he said the same thing that you're saying. So this is a pervasive problem. And I guess if somebody's out there listening right now and you've been thinking, how could you plug in and how could you minister and how could you be light and salt to those around you? What is Jesus doing in you? What is he inspiring you to do? Well, that would be a possibility, a great way to plug in to either form or be part of a ministry to widowers and widows. So thank you, Corey, for calling in tonight. Great to hear from you, and call us back anytime. All right, let's go now. Well, let's give out that number. We got a few minutes, time for another call. If you want to call right now, you'll get in, 877-655-6755. Let's go to Hamilton. We'll talk with Jacob. Hey, Jacob, what do you got for us tonight?
I would like to know what makes people gay.
What makes them gay? Okay.
Yeah. What would cause somebody to turn into a not a transvestite, but into somebody who of the other sex?
Okay. Well, now that's you kind of asked me two different questions there. The bottom line is, we got 5 minutes here. I'll pop over to Romans 1, and we can talk about homosexuality. In this passage, this is about people who are interested in the same sex. They're interested in sexual relations with the same gender. And in Romans 1, I know people have tried to explain this away. It seems to me it's plain as day. We've got at the sentence level, at the word level, at the paragraph level, there's plenty of context here to understand Paul's meaning. He says they exchanged the truth about God for a lie. He says God that gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity. So it seems to me that there's your answer from Romans chapter 1, that it's about their hearts, and their hearts are filled with sexual impurity. But I would also remind you that there's a further description here of these folks, these unbelievers. Look at them, every kind of wickedness. Okay, so now who is that? Well, that's all unbelievers. Let's go on. It says evil, greed, depravity, envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. Are you kidding me? They disobey their parents is in the same context with all of these other sins, including the one you're concerned about. So what do we learn from this? I mean, the bottom line is there's 50 flavors. I like to say it's like Baskin Robbins. I mean, there's at least 31 flavors of flesh. So you've got all kinds of variations of sin coming from the heart of a person that doesn't have Christ living in them. And that's why the answer is not to judge the world. I mean, Jesus literally said, I did not come to judge the world, but to save it. So the answer is Jesus Christ. And we can try to understand sin, but good luck. I mean, in my experience, trying to understand 31 flavors of flesh, trying to understand sin, forget about it. It's life without Christ. It's life without dependency on Him. It's life without resurrection dwelling within you. It's life without Jesus. And so it can have many different iterations. It can have many variations, many flavors of flesh out there. So when you read Romans 1, he's not picking on one group. It's clear that, homosexuality is described here, men committing shameful acts with other men, and in the same way, men abandoning natural relations with women, inflamed with lust for one another. Their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. But I mean, we could expound on that with the verses below. I mean, they're also exchanging contentment for envy. They're also exchanging love for murder. They're also, these unbelievers, they're exchanging respect for gossip. They're exchanging encouragement for slander. They're exchanging humility for arrogance. I mean, we could look at every single one of these symptoms and recognize, Paul is describing someone who doesn't know Christ. So what's the answer? Is the answer to point our finger and say, oh, look at all those people? Well, good luck. I mean, there's, 6 or 7 billion of them? What are we going to do? Stomp it all out? How's that going to work? How's that going for you? So I think at the end of the day, we're back to the message of Jesus Christ. We're back to the message of the cross and the resurrection. We're back to the idea that God's got this figured out, and it's about a person receiving life at the core of their being. And so, we Christians, we can get distracted. We start pointing our fingers at Washington, D.C., pointing our fingers at the world, trying to change people, trying to fix people, trying to judge people. And here, the Son of God Himself has declared, I didn't come to judge the world, but to save it. So that's always step one. That is always the focus for any believer. Let's proclaim what Jesus did. And when we do, that transforms everything in a person's life. Thanks for your call today. Reach out to us again anytime. Great to hear from you. Well, we ran out of time. We did have Miss Linda from New Jersey asking about a Christmas tree. Did you have one in your house? Is it okay to have a Christmas tree? Does God hate trees for Christmas? The bottom line is that this is a meat sacrifice to idols issue. I mean, the Corinthians were worried about eating meat sacrificed to idols. Paul writes them and says, idols? What idols? There are no other gods. We know the one true God, so idols, schmidles, don't let them bother you. Go ahead and eat that meat and be thankful in your heart. Well, likewise, if you had a Christmas tree, you can think of that great tree that Jesus hung on. You can think of the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, the birth of our Savior. You can celebrate on December 25 or in the middle of the year when maybe He was actually born. But we sanctify the day. We sanctify the day when we set apart Christ in our hearts. We sanctify the day because we're in Him and we're free. We sanctify every day when we set it apart for simply saying, thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, for becoming one of us. Thank you for your birth, your life, your death, your resurrection. Thank you for your presence in me today. And you have made what would otherwise be unclean, well, through you, it's holy.
For more information on the broadcast ministry of Dr. Andrew Farley, please visit andrewfarley.org. That's andrewfarley.org. Join us next time as we invite you to celebrate the grace message with Dr. Andrew Farley. This program is sponsored by your